Healthcare is definitely rewarding, but I'd be lying to tell you if there aren't times when you just feel jaded. That being said, we tend to focus so much on patient happiness or patient satisfaction, which is very important. But then I wonder if we should also be focusing a lot more on the satisfaction of our healthcare workers. On the topic of burnout and overall a satisfied or even dissatisfied workforce, I wanted to share a quick quote actually that I came across. It's a quote by a doctor named Pearl Grimes. I think she works out in California. Essentially, she stated that in today's high-stress environment, the joy of healing is overshadowed by the quotidian burden of modern-day medicine. First of all, I love the word quotidian. So I think that is
actually. You'll have to explain it to me.
Just like this overwhelming, constant burden of modern-day medicine, and it's no shock to hear that, right? Even prior to this pandemic, there was already reported increases in rate of physicians wanting to retire early, changing to non-clinical jobs, seeking part-time work, that sort of thing, more dissatisfaction overall. And so we already know that a dissatisfied healthcare workforce leads to not just poor productivity, right? I mean, we know that, but also what studies have shown, it leads to sort of inflexible thinking, this lack of sort of creativity, this rigid way of thinking. And it may not seem like it makes a big difference, but in healthcare, you actually need sort of a creative outside the box brain to sort of function well, because, even when you're diagnosing a condition or talking to a patient, you need to be able to pivot your mind from diagnosis to diagnosis to diagnosis and keep sharp to be able to get the right accurate diagnosis. And so I think it's interesting to see what dissatisfaction has on the healthcare brain. What do you think in general, though, beyond healthcare, the ramifications of a dissatisfied workforce?
You know what? It's actually really interesting. And, we're sort of going down a deep dive into this right now, specifically with wellness and health on a company perspective. Employee wellness sort of lives in the perk space, or nice to have or recruiting benefit, right? But if you really look at it, the biggest and only growth lever you have as the company is your people, right? And you have the greatest software, you might have the greatest platform, but if your people can't perform and they can't perform optimally, you're not going to be able to scale your business. You're not going to be able to have great, customer loyalty or NPS scores or whatever that is, because ultimately your people are not happy and your people are really not optimized to run your business. So I think what happens, or what needs to happen, is that companies as a whole need to start, I think, optimizing their company at the same point of paying attention to the wellness and the health of their employees, at the same time. Because what ends up happening, it ends up being a situation, let's grow as fast as we can, and all this, we're sort of catch back up, on the wellness side or the health side or the employee morale side. And they sort of need to go hand in hand. So yeah, I mean, companies do have to sort of change their mindset a little bit, especially now.
Yeah. So it's not just about customer satisfaction. It's also about employee satisfaction.
Especially when you take, growth-oriented companies, right, where you can understand sort of the health and the mindset of your employees pretty much right away by using any sort of systems or whatnot, right, to get an understanding as far as what's going on. But the growth aspect, it lags, right? Even on a hospital system, you're not going to get a true understanding of patient satisfaction, until after the fact, right? It could be months on the road, it could be quarterly, it could be yearly, right? I don't know how often a hospital system is tracking that, but employee morale, employee happiness is something that can be done on a daily, if not weekly basis, so I think it starts from the top and making sure that leadership and then, management below there are sort of aware of the concept of managing and leading their company towards a happier and healthier workforce, if that makes sense. My dogs are in the background fighting.
Let me see your dogs.
So this is the puppy. Come here.
Oh man, amazing. Yeah. Dude, what a photogenic dog.
I know, dude. He's got two different color eyes. He's got a blue eye and a brown eye.
Oh, he's got the puppy energy right now.
Oh my God, it was insane, man.